Open your ears, tuck in your kit, and keep your eyes on the road, because you are now listening to the Dry Powder Pod.
Oh, after one. It still works. That's close enough for the editor. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we can keep this in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. We're so happy that you decided to come back for a second week with, drumroll please, the Dry Powder Boys. The Dry Powder Pod is the official name of this podcast now. We're pretty excited about it.
I love it. I've grown to be obsessed with it.
I would say I'm pretty obsessed. I think it was Chad's idea originally.
It's an idea, man. What can we say?
I will say, initially, there are some people that I know, people I've known, where I followed them with the social media account, and their initial reaction was, is this some sort of like Second Amendment gun podcast, the Dry Powder Pod?
Right.
So we are really going to have to establish ourselves to make sure we don't get pigeonholed or people assume when they see it that we're some sort of
because that's not the main
loony
thing.
pod. Yeah,
our Second Amendment advocacy for muskets only is not like the number one thing. It's like an offshoot of our Revs fandom and our love for the New England Revolution. So even that is part of the Revs thing.
Of course. I mean, we were Revs fans, and then kind of that led to building up this passion for musket, for gunpowder.
I just want to make sure that the Minutemen always have, a stock gun.
We just want to score some goals and get some muskets firing. You know what I'm saying?
I think everyone in the fort should be allowed to bring their own musket to the game
BYOM.
And have all the fans, BYOM, and you can all fire off your muskets at the beginning.
I definitely
and after
agree.
every goal is scored.
I definitely agree Gillette should adopt BYOM.
Mr. Kraft,
Maybe for the next stadium?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're getting one like soon. It's going to be so soon, obviously.
Right.
They told us it was coming, so why would I ever question that?
So maybe BYOM could be in the next in Everett, We don't know yet.
Everett's going to have BYOM. Mr. Kraft, if you're listening, which I know you are, like a longtime fan of the Dry Powder Pod, so we thank you for listening every week. But yeah, just, hear us out. I don't know. It's an idea. Crafts, bless up. We love you. Praise be on their name.
Praise be.
Anyway, we're here. We're back. This is really exciting. I had a really fun time doing the first episode and goofing off with you guys and doing silly stuff. As I was listening back to the episode, it was weird hearing my own voice, but I feel like we did a good job. And
how many times did you listen to it?
The one complaint I had. Twice. Not in a narcissistic way, in like an editor way.
That's
just and it was at
sure. If you say so.
1.1 speed. I also had a very long car ride, so I have a laundry list of excuses. But no, as I was listening back, I was like, best parts of it were when we were getting a little bit goofy, a little bit silly with it, and after another disappointing fucking result. To start off the year, now a month in, and things kind of still suck. We're just going to get a little silly with it. We think we're going to be a little silly, a little goofier.
We got some little funny voices and stuff, and Dr. Strawberry's going to do his thing. Chad's going to do his thing, right?
Eventually, you will grow to love it. And
no.
Well, you already introduced it, so it's part of the lexicon now.
Unfortunately, I will not. I can't acknowledge that. I'm sorry.
It's a part of the lore. It's which the lore is already deep, and it will only get deeper. So anyway, if you have listened, though, seriously, that's hilarious that you're listening to us. But two. That's awesome, and thank you for coming back for another episode. Or if it's your first time, welcome. We're about to get silly with it. We're up to 13 Instagram followers as of this recording, so...
Let's go, lucky number.
Yeah, we're kind of a big deal.
We're kind of cooking.
Kind of cooking. Watch out.
Kind of cooking.
Don't let us in the oven too long, because we're cooking.
We are, order up. And one last thing, one last PSA before we get into the fun, is do not confuse us with the Dry Power Private Equity Podcast.
Dry powder.
We do not like those guys. We aren't those guys. We don't know anything about private equity. I don't know what that is.
Right, yeah, just to clarify, you said dry power.
You said dry power?
Did I say dry power? I meant dry powder.
You did say dry power.
Which makes me think it's like a Mormon type of, you know, abstinence podcast.
Yo.
Yeah, dude.
Anti-soaking.
That should be like the incel chant.
Oh my god.
power.
Like incel no-fap guys.
Yeah.
Dry power,
I
dry
listened
power.
to WAP one time and I was so disgusted.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't confuse us with the Dry Powder Private Equity Podcast or the Dry Power Mormon Abstinence Podcast.
Either of those guys are invited on to talk Revs.
Yeah, but we would totally have you on the
We're
pod,
happy to be sister pods, but we just, for you, the listener, it's really important that you not mistake. You know, if you're interested in private equity or you're interested in being a no-fap Mormon abstinence guy, then you need to be looking elsewhere. But for everyone else, we welcome you and we're really glad that you're here.
Yeah, welcome aboard. I mean, our big thing is, you know, Big Tent when it comes to being a Revs fan.
Yeah,
so,
what's the perfect intersection of that? Like an early investor in the Salt Lake USL team?
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, so we have to have.
Now you're talking.
This is like the so eventually we'll have a collab with the RSL podcast with I assume they're Mormons. They got to be, right?
You'd hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. It'd be kind of lame if you weren't. I don't know what the RSL podcast is to go to these days, but if you're listening, come on the pod. Okay. Let's get into it. So like I said, listen back to our podcast 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 times, taking notes, you know, being like, how the hell am I going to improve this?
Right.
So I think we're going to go slightly faster paced because this time we're going to have a mailbag, which is very exciting. We had some people write into the show. We're not going to be able to get through all the mail, obviously, because there's just like hundreds of emails.
Sacks of it.
After that first
sacks of emails that we printed out and put into sacks.
Yeah, my mailman physically, I had to go help him bring in all the mail from in his truck. It was pretty crazy. But so we read through all of them, and we're gonna take some of our favorites and go through them and have the Dry Powder boys give their best takes on some of your fun questions. But before that, we're gonna do what we did last time. We're gonna do a match review, and then we're gonna go into a new section. I kind of modified the player review section to do a stock up, stock down type thing, where I tell you a player whose stock I think went up. You guys tell me your takes, and if you agree, and then players I think whose stock went down. Here we go with our match review. The New England Revolution traveled on the road to play at Yankee Stadium. Despite going up after an early, incredibly calculated own goal shot in by Brandon By off of Thiago Martins, unfortunately the Revs lost 2-1 in the end after they just could not withstand the NYC attack, especially in the second half. It felt a little bit similar to me to the Philly game, honestly, in a lot of ways, but just on a shittier, smaller pitch. For this one, guys, I'll start off with Chad. What did you like? What did you hate? What were your takeaways from this match overall?
We had some really nice crossing going on with our, especially with Brandon By. Will Sands got a couple in there too. So I like that little addition to the attack. Defense, again, was pretty solid. I don't know. I feel like I'm just trying to scrounge something up here. There wasn't a lot that I liked about this match at all, to be quite honest with you. There were some spots where I was like, okay, that looked good, but ultimately it was a poor performance and, frankly, a boring game. A snoozer.
I thought it had some moments, and that NYC goal, was it the second one? That was just the
rebound into a crazy scissor kick volley. Yes.
Yeah, that was cool, I guess. Even if it was the other team. Aww. But yeah, I would say a little less exciting than the last game. And I don't know. A lot of the time, I felt like Dr. Strawberry, aka Abe. What are your takes on this one? Because I don't know. I had mixed feelings. Maybe slightly more positive than
don't call me Dr. Strawberry. It was disappointing. I got to echo what you said at the top, that it was very similar to the Philly game. So some similar ups, similar downs, except it was played on not a real pitch. It was played in the teeny tiny bandbox that is Yankee Stadium, which is not fit to be a baseball field, let alone a soccer field. So it's just absurd. It's the only thing that you can say positive about that situation is at least they're getting a stadium just for soccer before we are. So, Maybe you'd rather play on real grass in a tiny little baseball field than on turf in a big empty football field, but I don't really think that either situation is exactly what a soccer team wants to be doing. So it's a weird setup. The tiny field really hurt how both teams wanted to play from the back. When your center back pairings are about 30 yards away from each other, it just gets in the way of the entire system. Such as it is, and that doesn't help us. That doesn't help coaches' attempts to build a cohesive unit and make something happen, win points before, his hot seat becomes him saying goodbye and packing his stuff in his locker,
Overall, like compared to the last game, I was like, it definitely wasn't a step up. It wasn't like, oh, we're improving. Like in the last game, there was at least a little bit like, maybe this is slightly better. The baby steps, even though it really should be a little faster than that. But this one just felt maybe a step down, maybe kind of the same. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I do feel like there were like some more mistakes, but a lot of that seemed due to the size of the field. Like one notable one early on, Fofana, he was just trying to lay a pass off like to the left for I think Sands to pick up. And it was hilarious. He just rolled it right out of play, and Sands wasn't anywhere close. I think because he thought he's used to having like 10, 15 more yards of space to roll that into. But yeah, it was unfortunately another kind of crap performance. Not that exciting. It had its moments, and then, oh man, some of the set pieces too, which I guess you could say maybe it's due to the small size of the field, but they really, like Heel, for example, he's not in my stock up, stock down, but he had a lot of terrible corners. Like those last two corners of the game were god awful, and I was so mad just yelling at my TV. And I guess you can attribute that to the size of the field.
I think he also skied a couple shots too. It was ugly.
Yeah, there was like the few like kind of good plays we had ended in skied shots. I mean, Gonna Go had like a shot he got, like a couple shots he got off. Heel had a couple, I think, or one. So I guess at least a few more shots compared to last time. But that's also smaller field. You're going to just have more times where you can shoot. All right, so anyone else have any other thoughts on the game? Because I'd be down to jump right into stock up, stock down, because there wasn't too much to take away from this one, honestly.
Mine is not going to be as analytical, but I forget who came off for New York really early, but one of their young defenders came off, and the sub brought on was immediately hitting some smelling salts, which I thought was a very strong, powerful move.
The smelling salts.
Big ups for the smelling salts.
We love the smelling salts. I love where you go play like an intense competitive sport of any kind. But I feel like the smelling salts, I don't know. I've never has anyone taken them before? Because I think they're pretty popular now.
I mean, I know what they're supposed to do, and it's just ammonia salts, correct?
I mean, they get you back after a concussion, right? They like wake you up. That's how I know them being used as like a football player gets a concussion in like a TV show, and they give him the smelling salts and he's fine.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
No long-term repercussions. He's not held out.
I think we have to do at least one episode of the pod where we all try smelling salts and then give all of our
really
takes.
Want to.
Okay, well I will. I'll be the lab rat.
You can.
I'll do it.
But if we're,
I've got morbid.
All right. Well, you're both going to do it. I guess I have to do it. But you need to get a webcam before we do it. We can take smelling salts on the first video episode once you get your webcam.
Oh yes, once the video pod starts, which I need a webcam.
Because that'll be a viral moment we can turn into an Instagram reel.
Oh shit, we do a face reveal followed by immediately taking smelling salts. Yes.
And they're sexy as hell, and they take smelling salts.
And we do like an hour pod marathon. Yeah, shit. Okay. I like these guys.
Damn. Okay.
Boys, dude.
The dry powder boys do smelling salts?
and then sit down and talk to each other
and then talk to a microphone for 10 hours?
Damn, that's so cool.
Okay.
Yo, chat, what's our word per minute right now? Word per minute? Yeah. Chat, someone calculate that?
So, all right. Yeah, that wasn't a very soccer-y take, so...
No, I dig it. I dig on it. My take was gonna segue into our stock up, stock down, because I don't think this is a player that you're planning on addressing the stock up, stock down. But let me give a little bit of. I just want to have a quick conversation about Luca Langoni, the lobster.
The lobster.
The lobster.
You are correct. He was not highlighted because he came off the bench.
So Coach in the post-game press conference said he came off the bench because the small field, like we're just talking about, impacted how he wants Luka to play. Because right now, Coach wants Ganago on the left to be the cutting-in winger, and he wants Luka to be the out-wide crossing man. And I just wanted to address that because I get it, but the player that I thought Luka was going to be was more in the mold of what he's trying to get Ganago to do right now. And I just have to say, I think that Coach relegating him to the crossing man role in the right wing is not maybe the best use of Luka's abilities. Maybe he knows better about Luka's abilities than I do, and his crossing is what we really want to, and that's marginalized by the field and everything. But it's an interesting choice. I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
I didn't have him in my stock up, stock down, but that was, I think, spot on, actually, the more I think about it. Because I wish I had learned this before the last pod. It was something I actually learned this week that kind of blew my mind. And
we're learning every day, and that's
agree with that. We're learning all the time, and it's
life.
Awesome. I love learning.
That's the Dry Powder Boys endorsement of learning.
I'm thirsty.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge. Knowledge is power. We just thought of that. No, for Luka, I found out for Boca Juniors. I had no idea. He was played sometimes as a false nine, like second striker. I didn't know that. I always thought he was like purely kind of a winger, but to like potentially cut inside or, get wide and be fast. If you look at a lot of his Boca highlights and also learning that fact, I think I'm inclined to like be with you on this one that, he shouldn't be forced to be like, all right, your thing, you have a singular role and that's get to the outside and cross it. And it sounds like, and I remember last year he said the same thing. I had forgotten that, where he was like, my thing is one winger who cuts inside, Shankalai, or and a winger who goes wide, Langoni. And I hadn't really thought about that quote until now. So I'm glad you brought that up. And
he's saying the same. He's still playing the same. He's still playing the same notes, right? Chad, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I had a thought experiment I wanted to hit you guys with, but
my only thought is I'm just remembering back to last season when we introduced Langoni when he I forget who we were playing, but we bring him on and I think one of the first plays where he touches the ball and where he streaks down the center of the field and scores a goal. And he seems like a very vertical player, not like he's always looked lost on the outside. So I'm confused as to why we're trying to shove him into this box. It doesn't.
I'm concerned it might not be a fit. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Yeah. So here's my thought based on Tyler, you saying that he played that second striker role at Boca.
Yeah.
So picture him in the Pantera role next to a big, tall striker like a Buxa.
Adam Buxa!
Like him playing in that, I think that bow kind of role might better suit him. We don't have one good striker we can put up there now, let alone be getting into thought experiments about playing a two-striker game. So I acknowledge that may not be the formation change we need.
No, I love the question, and it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day of like I don't think we've played in a two-striker system since Bruce. Like he was the 4-4-2 diamond guy. Like was his thing with the Revs squad. 4-4 fucking 2, mate.
I don't want to swear. I'm sorry.
Oh no, well, we can swear a little bit. Yeah, it's okay if you do it with a cheeky accent. It's no problem.
No, it's all right. They say it. This is normal word over there.
Yeah, over there. It's just
across the pond.
It's just a little chinwag. Yeah. So I would like to see him try, man. I mean, he seems like pretty set on the 4-2-3-1. Like that feels like that's what Porter wants to do, and he seems so singular in the way he thinks about things that I don't see him ever like trying something else. But I would love to see him experiment, especially with someone like Langoni, who we saw when he came in. Like we said last week, brief little bits of like promise where you're like, oh shit, this guy could be legit. Like people when he first came in, yeah. I remember the first 2-3 games he played for us. People were like, "Dude, this kid might be legit." Like random analysts when I was listening to podcasts, and it got me all excited. And
was it coached out of him?
I don't know. I mean, that was what Chad asked last week. That is exactly what Chad asked last week. Was like, was it coached out of him? Maybe. Porter's like, do this, do exactly as I say. We must play Porter ball my way.
Do exactly as I say.
It's my way or the highway.
Or you're going in the boiling water, you damn lobster.
Yeah. Oh God, no! Don't. Wait, so Luke is so cute.
I'm sorry,
dude.
that was too scary.
No, dude, we're not gonna. Yeah, that is really scary. This is not a horror podcast.
I don't endorse spoiling animals alive.
Especially, if their name is Luca. All right. On that note, I think that was I thank you for bringing that up because that was actually like very well said on your part, and I think it kind of hit home like the weird situation we have with Langoni. Anywho. So I'll do 2 players, 2 stock up, 2 stock down. Like I said, the stock ups are pretty forced, to be honest. There wasn't really anyone.
Wasn't
where
a great
like,
game.
It wasn't like, yo, this guy was fucking awesome, dude. Like
the best game I've ever seen. Watch your language too, please.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Language. I will edit it.
Swear jar.
All right. Yeah. Timestamp. Swear word at 22:20. So I want to go through these players one by one, say which ones were stock up, say what I thought, hear if you guys agreed, disagreed. You can give your thoughts, or just we can go through pretty fast. All right. My first one is Brendan 007 Bye. He returns. He's back on the starting lineup. And to me, it was immediately like, oh, yeah, this is the Brandon Bye we missed. Like, he's still under Porter. He definitely plays him like way more conservatively. Like, I saw him pushing Sands up a lot more. And having Brandon Bye hold back for like almost like a back 3 at times. I still think when Brandon Bye went up, like you're like, oh, those are the crosses we missed that like we just weren't getting from Feingold. Even on FOT Mob, it is 0 for 4 on accurate crosses, but I feel like in this case, from like the eye test, I watched the game back, they were good. A lot of them were good. Most of them were good crosses. And it was just
one of them led to a goal.
The runners in the box, yeah, and one
of those inaccurate crosses, went off of.
No. Yeah, it was accurate. That's the thing.
Accurate.
Yeah.
So maybe the statistics were wrong on this one. You think he intended to?
Yes. Don't trust the score sheet. The box score.
So calculated.
He was. So I saw Brandon Bye. You see him. Look back at the tape. He looks at.
You've watched the film.
I watched the film many times. He looks. He spots Thiago Martins running in front of Ganago.
He's like, to the left.
He's like, that guy's. He looks like he's looking a little shaky. He targets the foot that he wants to hits the perfect cross, boom, right off his foot. I saw him do it. He looks at the foot. So I don't know what all these other reporters are saying, like, oh, our first goal was an own goal. No, it was Brandon Bye sniping.
It was a snipe. Yeah, it was a snipe.
Like, sorry that he, like, he's like in wanted bending a bullet. He can bounce a ball.
I'm looking forward to seeing him using this ability to help us in future games.
Yeah, he should use it more.
Right. I'm impressed.
His focus meter was depleted after that, so
may have to charge up to.
It takes a while to charge up, and he's also still coming back. So anyway, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Brandon Bye. Do you agree with me on my stock up take on this one?
I mean, I'm with you. I think the big thing, though, you mentioned how to our eye test crossing looks pretty good, but the problem is exactly what we just covered. It's coach's tactics and how he wants the right winger to be the outside crossing winger, and he wants the left winger to be the cutting in man. And so that empowers Sands to be bombing forward on the left side. He has to cover that side. He's covering both the danger area and our half. And on the right side, it sort of marginalizes Bye's abilities to a certain degree. If you agree with us that he's a solid crosser and that Bye's crossing is part of the recipe that we want in this team to be feeding balls into the box, it neutralizes him a little bit because you really want Luca or whomever is occupying that right wing role to be the one who's crossing those from that position.
I am actively nodding right now in agreement, and it's just makes it so much more 2-dimensional. Chad, I don't know. Did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm looking at your notes right now, and the runs into the box on Bye's crosses were
poor.
Non-existent.
Yeah, I would say poor generously.
Yeah, almost no one ever crashed the back post. I think.
Yep.
I think that's the farthest anyone ever got on one of those 4 crosses, besides the own goal. They stopped at the penalty spot and just stopped running. So it's like at a certain point, it's like, yeah, no, I know they can read the ball. They're a professional. They know what they're doing. But also, like, it looks like there's no effort in trying to track that ball down, which is a little disheartening.
There's no poach. So. I mean, you could maybe attribute it to Campana being out, I guess. And it's like, I get you could say like those first 2 games, he didn't even have a chance to get those crosses to be that runner because they were so boring in the first 2 games. Yeah. So maybe he could be that guy. But we don't know, and it's still going to be a few more games that he's out. I guess it's lucky that we don't have a game this coming weekend, and it's next weekend.
Yeah, at least we have the break coming up.
but I don't know. Yeah. So, Brandon Bye, welcome back. We know you're also a listener of the pod, so yeah, just keep doing
friend of the pod,
doing,
friend of the
We're
show.
Stoked. Yeah, another parasocial relationship that's really, really strong. All right, my next one is stock down, and that's Rudy. I don't think this guy is capable of playing more than 15 minutes. He could maybe be a super sub. He definitely, like, his whole thing is he always had a few tricks up his sleeve. Like, he's kind of a trickster guy, but he just does not have the legs. I don't know, like... He's
got cement feet.
Nothing.
I don't know what else.
Yes, exactly.
He's so slow.
Cement feet. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts beyond that, but that's really my thing. Is I was like, okay, he's starting. He came off the bench in the last one and didn't have enough gas for 30 minutes. You're gonna have him start, and it was the same thing.
Bag of tricks looks empty.
Yeah. Like yeah. This magician. Yeah. Shit. I don't have a one line.
He's out of rabbits. He's got plenty of hats, but he's all out of rabbits.
And I mean, playing up front like that too, there was a moment where I think Ganago gets a long ball, he pulls it back, they cycle it around the box, and it eventually hits Rudy, and bro, you're at the top of the box, just rip a shot. Like, this has been a poor performance so far. Instead, he just lays it off to Carles, who then skies the ball. And I'm just like, dude, you have one job.
Yeah.
Have some confidence.
You are the striker.
Have a rip.
That is your thing.
Try a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I still think he could be a good off-the-bench option. Our sample size is just too small at this point, considering, as we said in the last episode, this is pretty much an expansion team. But
it's just rough team building. He doesn't have the legs to be the backup, let alone the guy who's forced into this role for however many games.
Do you think he can be a sub though? I mean, he's 34.
You're down a goal. It's the 80th minute, and you throw out another attacking body. You take out
he could play
Jackson
15 minutes, half hour, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't trust him playing a half.
Hard to tell.
He touched the ball. He touched the ball 10 times and took one shot.
He has only 10 touches. I didn't even check his stat sheet. Is it 10 touches?
And he doesn't offer anything pressing because he has no legs. It's not a situation you want to be in.
Jeez. Well, Campagna, also a big-time listener of the pod.
Come back soon.
Leonardo, as we call him, as our close friend. Yeah, come back. I know you're listening, so we still believe in you. Rudy, you're cool. Maybe don't start. All right, my next stock up, and we've already covered this, so we don't even really have much to say on this. You can even be like, yep, just thumbs up, we move on. The center back pairing, to me, was solid again. They had a lot of good plays. Like, it wasn't perfect, and I didn't blame either of them for the 2 goals we conceded. I do got to say, like, I don't know, my terminology's bad because I'm kind of not a soccer pro, and that's the whole thing is we're just podcasters. But
yeah, we actually learned about the game this year.
The first, because we just learned about soccer this week. But on that first goal, I need to go back and watch it because this take could be bad, and I think it's kind of on Sands, but it's hard to tell. The rest defense, we lose the ball. Rest defense being that defense. Like being ready for when you lose the ball. Like, what position is your defense in when you're in possession? So that when you lose it, you're not like, oh, shit, like scrambling. So I felt like on that first goal, it was really bad. It was like, how did that happen? I was like, we're finally taking a risk. But then people were out of position. And I guess because it's so short, Sands just couldn't keep up. Maybe Peyton Miller catches up. I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling now. But my point being is the defense had some bad moments. But was mostly okay, and the center back pairing I'm still pleased with.
I gotta challenge that. I was not happy with Fofana today, and I gotta say, I mean, you mentioning him and Sands having contributed to the first goal, I also have to say it was Fofana and Sands taking the wrong angle to defend the ball in the box on the second goal that led to that first shot, which was saved, but then the rebound was scored on Ivicic. So. I do kind of, having looked back and watched that, I gotta blame Fofana and Sands for their play there. That they Sands kind of intercepted Fofana, and Fofana didn't. It was just kind of awkward. He came on the wrong foot, and so he wasn't able to extend his foot out. If he had been able to extend his left foot out even a little bit, he would have been able to dispossess the man in the box fairly easily, it seemed. But he just took the wrong angle. Was on the wrong pivot. Sands cut him off. It was just awkward all around, and both those guys kind of contributed to that second goal. So I wasn't really pleased with that. For the most part, I want to say still pretty good, and I'm not. My confidence in the CB pairing as a whole isn't that shaken, but I want to see a little better than that. They gotta be approaching the ball better in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know if you got Chad. Did you have any thoughts on the defense in general? I know I focused on the center back pairing, but just defense.
Again, the decent, nothing special. I think that first goal, just you're caught out. I mean, you're running with your back to the man and your face towards goal. It's going to be challenging. So they did their best. The second goal, I agree with Abe. It was awkward, but they just left a man completely wide open in the box like that. You can't do that. And he capitalized by doing something absolutely sick.
Yeah, that is.
Props to was it Fernandez that scored that?
Who did score that? Martinez.
Okay, Fernandez scored the first goal. Alonso Martinez the second goal. So congrats. That was sick, Alonso Martinez.
Shout out.
Really dope
Shout
goal.
out.
You were left wide open.
Yeah, no, you should not have even been in that situation. We should have intercepted the ball 3 times before you got it. But hey, man, props.
Yeah, well, it's where you aren't anticipating, like, I still got to be marking my man after the shot has happened because there could be the deflection into the box. Because, you mean
my man's marking? You thought I meant my man's marking?
My man's marking?
Oh.
Ivicic, he had a couple.
That's old school.
He isn't one of my characters that I highlighted here, one of the goofy characters that we were spotlighting, but I still have to shout him out. He did have a couple of holy shit saves.
He had some good saves.
And I don't blame him for that bite goal we conceded at all. He made a crazy save before that, and then it's on your defense to get that out of there. Like you're making a diving save down to your side like that, there's no way you're like, let me just poke this to where there isn't an attacker. Like, no, it's just your defense has to cover you there. So
Agreed.
I mean, you could be that guy, but you'd be playing in Europe if that was the case.
Yeah, right. If you're pulling off those sorts of double saves and things, yeah.
You're then that is true. Someone like a Petrovic, and he's in playing Ligue 1 update. He's at 5 games in a row, Ligue 1 shutouts. Crazy.
Friend of the show. We love Petro.
I believe. So, or Strasbourg. All right. So anyway, friend of the pod. Yeah, Georgi Petrovic. My last stock up, stock down.
We love Georgie.
This one's a weird one. This is why I saved it for last, because it's the one I literally was like, could make the argument for stock down, but could also maybe make it stock up. So weirdly, Al Hassan Yusuf it wasn't exactly what my hypothetical was from the last episode, but he was played at left wing. It was weird because in my notes, I was like, oh man, really? He clearly is not comfortable up there. Did not have a good performance. He did cover a lot of ground. He was all over the place, but he kind of kept acting like a central midfielder who was being forced to go out to the wing sometimes. Like he wanted to be inside. But then his FOT mob, it looks like he has a ton of completed passes. Like he's the highest rated player on the team. So then I was like, what? FOT mob, I guess, can be very misleading sometimes with the way it does stats. But I don't know. I was like, definitely don't play him again at the wing. Please, I think Chad was right on this one, that it should have been Diaz at the wing. I don't know. What did you guys think of Yusuf on this one? Because I went stock down because I think he's just been pretty sloppy as well in the past few games, but maybe also up because he covered a ton of ground and his stats look good on paper. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Just because you can drift around and complete passes doesn't necessarily translate to a direct impact on the game. That said, he completed passes and didn't turn the ball over, so that's good. But I don't think he is fit for the outside like that. I want to go back to a man that I made a joke about last episode, but I'll hold that. I'll hold that for my.
We had hundreds.
I'll hold that for my
mailbags.
Who?
Jackson Hewell.
Are you talking about?
Yeah.
Who will?
We got hundreds of
yeah, we got a lot. We got a lot of. It was actually
hate,
like death threats, like a lot of hate. Death threats. We got a lot of really terrible hatred and really ugly.
People were really mad.
We saw the ugly face of humanity in what they wrote.
It just wanted to kill me.
Yeah, it was really scary.
It was all the...
Listen, snowflakes. Comedy is...
They were like, we hope Chad died in that fire. We hope that fire alarm was something serious.
Stands. They're like
all the Jackson Yule people. They're exactly like Swift. They're actually more vicious.
Yeah, they're crazy, dude. They love him. They're all from San Jose, luckily.
On Yusuf.
Yeah.
So, do we know if Yusuf is Muslim, by the way?
Yes,
just thinking like Al Hassan Yusuf from Nigeria, I assume, and it is Ramadan.
And
so I do have to shout out.
Oh, yeah.
I have to shout out that he's playing during Ramadan, and 7:30 starts after daylight savings time in the East. Maybe the sun sets just in time for him to house some pasta before the game or whatever. But you're not able to carb load a few hours before the game like you really want to be. And so that's going to be difficult. And then I just want to say, it reminds me a little bit, just a box-to-box midfielder getting time at the right wing reminds me of Aaron Ramsey in some of Arsene Wenger's Arsenal teams. That was a different situation because Ramsey was a very young player at that time, and his play on the right wing was sort of a developmental step where he was learning positional discipline and some things that would go on to help him in the box-to-box CM role. It's just where my head went in that sort of role of a player, like that player being put into that new position. Obviously, not nearly up to that standard. And it's just with our center midfield looking a little rough this year. I'm rooting for Yusuf. I really like him as a player. I really think that he can thrive in this system once he gets going. But I haven't been super impressed with his CM performances. And so then when you take that and you translate that to the right wing, it's just, I have to say Chad was on the money. It's like, yep, you're making some passes and you're not getting dispossessed too much. And that's good. That's a positive. But if that's all you're doing, you're not adding a ton.
You're not an real attacking
to our goal. You're not adding to our goal threat.
And passing.
You're not adding to our goal threat. I will say that him in that position probably empowered Bai to make some crosses. And so maybe that led to our only goal with Bai, calculating his odds there and putting together an incredible snipe. And if we had Luka in that spot on a bigger pitch, maybe, Bai doesn't get to make that cross. But I don't even think that's true. I think that, you would just get more attacking options from the right side. So I think it was a bit rough.
I think he would thrive as a CDM, quite honestly.
I'm sort of curious whether he has what it takes to be a single pivot.
Honestly,
don't know.
Like, Yule doesn't do anything, seemingly. So just get rid of Yule. I don't know. We don't know what we're talking about. We're podcasters, but I like it.
Yeah, get his ass out of here. He doesn't do anything.
Yule?
Yule? Yeah. Yule?
The premise of
it's the conclusion I came to is that, and I like my version better, I think, than what you ended up explaining to me, is that it was a Breaking Bad reference.
I am the one who moves.
Maybe he's slow or he's lost because no one knows where Huel is. That actually is I'm going to put the Breaking Bad music in here. It's going to fucking slap.
Nice.
Yeah, no, if you want me to explain it, it's literally just who, Bill, because he has.
But you didn't say who. You just you said something different.
I said
you said you.
I am going to insert the audio clip right here and let the audience decide.
You said Huel, like that food, like that weird, alternate food.
Yeah, the shit that costs pennies in a bag.
Right.
It's just
this episode and all future episodes brought to you by Huel.
Huel. Yeah. Huel. That's fun to say. Huel. I don't know. Now I'm going to say
anyway, stock down. Stock
down. All right, that's what I was leaning towards. Stock down, but I still have hope. Yusuf, also a long time listener of the pod.
Yeah.
We believe in you.
Stock down, but you're gonna get there, buddy.
And it's probably not your fault. It's probably Porter's fault, honestly.
Stock down and a cup of soda.
So the last thing I want to shout out before we move on to the next section is Will Sands. I think it's the 47th or 48th minute. He wins my new title that I'm going to be giving out every week. Concussion of the week. He got bonked so hard, and I was so surprised he kept playing. It was a headbutt straight to his forehead, and there will be a bonk sound effect. I put it in the notes.
that is the best. But the forehead is the best place to be hit. That's the strongest part of the skull.
I guess I got to rewatch exactly where he got hit, but I remember being shocked. I was shocked he came back in. I was like, oh my god, he's knocked out.
Yeah, he should have.
Yeah,
he
didn't.
No, as someone who can spot a concussion from.
Yeah, no, he was. That boy was not.
He's
right.
cooked.
Chad is our resident concussion expert, so
he can sniff it out.
He can be the one he'll help me every week deciding on who gets concussion of the week and help us assess the severity of said concussion. Maybe we'll think of a sliding scale of some kind.
Ooh, yeah, the Chad
I gotta work
scale.
on that. The Chad concussion scale. Okay,
the Chad concussion scale, CCS. It's the standard.
It's the standard.
How slunked up is this guy's brains?
Yes. How much did his brain rattle around inside of his skull?
How many bounces?
You think? Is that officially pudding yet? I think so.
Pudding? That's the 10? Oh my god. It's mush. It's mashed potatoes, folks.
It bounced all up in there. It's totally smooth now.
All right. For the next part, because I do want to get into the mailbag here, and this is actually, I'm going to break the fourth wall, probably edit this out. I put in a thing where I was like, everyone drops a hot take.
Guys, Tyler trapped me here.
But yes, no, that's not true.
Tyler said he'd kill my family if I didn't keep recording.
Shut up. Yo, cut the mic, producer.
Yeah, my hot take is Jackson Ewell should not be in the starting 11.
Cool.
We don't have to do that.
Everyone's laughing. All right, we'll have that be our one hot take, and I'm going to put a crazy guitar riff after it. It'll be sick. All right.
Hot takes. Yeah.
These are your hot takes.
Ow!
Yeah.
Oh, it's hot.
So for the mailbag, I hope you guys reviewed some of these questions.
I did not.
You did not. All right, perfect. So we're freestyling here, folks. Because some of them, like I said, we got hundreds. I sorted through them. I took out the best ones. These are all.
You safely gave the ones that were full of anthrax for Chad. You gave those to the authorities.
I handed over all the Jackson Huel heads.
You took my white powder envelopes away from me.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk after this.
So anyway, I'm going to go through these questions pretty fast. We don't want to as you know, I keep saying double dip. I'm going to make it my thing. I'm going to say it. We don't want to double dip too much. I'm going to read out a question. A lot of them are just funny. I prefer the funnier ones. The double day double. Oh my god, it's brilliant. Double day double dip.
I just stole that from you because it was your thing. You just said it was your thing, and then
now,
I was just I'm actually going to jump in.
This is actually my thing, and I'm going to say a take I said earlier again. The double day double dip.
I'm going to double dip when you least expect it.
I'm about to double dip and ruin your whole podcast.
Guess what, kiddo?
I want to hop into these questions before I start. If you're listening and you're having fun and you're along for the ride, thank you. And please send us questions. We're currently on, I'm sorry to say, Twitter. I think it has another name. I don't remember what it is, but I'm just going to call it
the
Twitter.
Everything app?
The Everything app. I don't like making an account on there right now, but it is a good place to promote. And honestly, fighting against impending fascism versus
it's the fascist.
Yeah, versus promoting my pod. I got to prioritize, so I'm promoting the pod on the fascism app.
You
so if
find
you're on
us
there,
on OnlyFans.
Yeah, so we're on OnlyFans. We're on OnlyFans. If you want to get, we don't trust Patreon, so all of our quote unquote Patreon episodes
side is through OnlyFans.
Our OnlyFans episodes. Yes, but it's just us. It's just dudes. It's nothing sexual.
Close on.
Yeah. But hit us up.
I'll rate your musket.
We're on Instagram. Comment on Instagram. I read through all the comments. I know there's going to be thousands of comments, but if you comment, I will read them. If you send a question or a comment, I will read it on the show. We also have our official email, drypowderpod@gmail.com. No spaces, nothing like that, nothing complicated. Please send your questions. We actually got a few, unironically, I actually got a few going into this one. That's pretty cool. And yeah, none of these are fabricated. I know someone, I don't know, told me are you going to make up questions? Of course we would never do that, ever.
We would never make up questions.
We would never lie on the internet.
I wouldn't lie in my podcast.
I wouldn't lie on my podcast. I don't know who the character was. A Nixon podcaster. Maybe.
I like him. I like him.
Get me pictures.
Yeah.
Get me podcasts on Spider-Man.
Get me a podcast on Spider-Man. I want to see him strung up by his own web on the web. Fuck, I don't know. There's something there.
That's kind of
I want to see Spider-Man shoot.
Yeah, I want to see his sticky webs all strung up.
Ooh, yeah. The first one's from Matt from Massachusetts, and thank you for sending in your question. Should we sign Thiago Martins so we can have our leading scorer on the roster?
I mean, he's got chemistry with Bai.
Yeah, that cross from Bai was crazy. I mean, if they could emulate that at Gillette, that would be nuts. So I'm for it, Matt. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I'm for it. Once the transfer window opens, I say sign him up.
Yeah, get him in here.
We can get even older.
He's coming to Boston, or Foxborough, excuse me, or Everett, or wherever the hell we'll be. We'll be somewhere. All right.
Encore Boston Harbor.
Yeah, shout out, Matt. Thank you for the question. You rock, dude. Next question is also from Massachusetts, from Bobby Boy 69. And the question is Carlos washed?
Next question.
Dude, Bobby Boy 69, thank you for listening, but don't ever say a question like that.
I don't thank you for listening.
Don't
listen to this.
Keep his name out of your goddamn mouth. All right, next question. Belinda from Iowa. Oh my God, guys, we have listeners from all over. This is crazy. Belinda, thank you for listening.
Wow.
Oh my God, from Iowa. I wonder why you're a Revs fan. I guess you don't really have many teams out there unless you like college football.
Maybe she's a transplant. Maybe she came from Mass.
Yeah, well, shout out Belinda. Belinda asks, it's a question for Abe, I think. Longtime listener, first time in the mailbag. Question for Dr. Strawberry. Which Revolution player do you think you'd be most likely to run into at a farmer's market?
Okay, most likely to run into as a farmer's market. I am thinking... this is a really good question, Belinda. You know, I want to share a little trade secret. So I heard through the grapevine from some very reliable sources that the entire team goes to the farmer's market together as a group. And so And so on, whenever it's open. No, this is actually one of the things that we can thank Coach Porter for.
Wow,
this is a new thing. Okay. This is a new sort of a team bonding thing. On Fridays, when the farmers market is open, they all go down together. They have little wicker baskets. Everyone has their own wicker basket, and they wear matching outfits. So they're team provided, but they're not team branded. So they're not really identified as representatives of the Revolution. It's more like like Madeline books, like those little French girl students.
Yes.
So they wear very similar. They wear a very similar uniform, and they all go to the farmers market together.
They do
and
that.
It's really
That's so
lovely.
cool.
Yeah, and I think that the chemistry that shows is going to start showing up on the pitch soon.
Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, that's some great insider information.
It may not be true.
No, I think it is.
But I assume it is.
We're not only are we podcasters, we're also journalists.
We're kind of insiders. We're kind of ITK.
We are inside, and I think that was spot on. I was just gonna say I could picture a Rudy with his look, with like a nice thick rim pair of glasses and a really big scarf and like skin tight jeans.
Is he
like
getting
really
getting leaks?
Yes.
Is he getting leeks? Is he getting collard greens? Is he getting okra?
Yeah, only leeks. Weirdly,
you gotta have at least one or two big leeks coming out of the basket.
He'll occasionally get kale.
Yeah,
or
I like that.
Oils, yeah.
I like buying the non-vegetable items at the farmers market. So you get some essential oils. You get like maybe a handmade pillow or like knitting pattern or like a nice wool from like a local sheep who their name. I just think that's pretty nice.
And honestly, the fact that the team is going every week to the farmers market and their chemistry is still lacking in the way that it is pretty alarming. Every Friday, right?
You're right.
Wow.
That's what I've heard.
When Abe hears things.
Yeah, don't call me that.
I didn't. I call Dr. Abe. Compromise. When he hears things, they tend to be true. I mean,
right.
You're kind of an expert. So
a doctor of listening to
a listening doctor. I think that's the official term. Does anyone else have anything else for Belinda? And thank you, Belinda, for your question. This one's amazing. So awesome that you're sending this in from Iowa. Nothing. All right. Our next question. Looks like this one's for Chad. This is Roger from Maine. He says, Chad, first off, so happy you didn't die in a house fire. We were worried after how the last episode ended. My question for you is, if you could create your own expansion team so you would no longer have the burden of being a Revs fan, where would it be located and what would you call it?
Thanks for the question, Roger. Well, it wouldn't be Portland, so sorry, Maine. You guys just got a USL 1 team, and the kits are
fire.
So
Guitar riff there. Insert.
They're really, really good. I'm thinking like major metropolitan city in the northeast of this continent, like maybe like a Montreal would be good. Like maybe, but I would call it like Montreal Impact.
Dude. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because there isn't a team there yet. Oh yeah. No, I catch what you're putting out. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I like that idea.
I think something really punchy. You know?
The Impact. That's a good name.
Yeah. The Impact.
You just thought of that on the spot?
Good.
Wow.
And that would also mean that I could own the team and probably get Canadian citizenship. So, hello.
Oh, that would be incredibly based.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet. It's either that or international waters.
That's awesome. My God. Wait, so you have
like a
team
soccer team for international waters?
It represents international waters?
Where would they play?
Yeah.
Do they play in the
boat?
ocean?
International
waters.
Like
on an aircraft carrier?
Jinx.
Think about it'd be more like a Carnival cruise ship.
Okay.
But just like one big pitch and some stands and
this
stuff.
Might be
I'm very into that idea
I've ever heard. And it's like oh my God.
They could travel from east to west coast and back all season, so then they would have their different games.
What federation would they be in, though? Because, MLS is like CONCACAF. When you go international waters...
Sovereign soccer.
So wherever
they play in. They play in multiple leagues. They just kind of drift around.
Yeah, half the year we're in UEFA, half the year we're in fucking CONMEBOL.
That's actually
it's
sick.
Gonna be great.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And we're a destination spot, so we're going to be pulling a lot of like high-end talent. The trick is going to be getting fans to the game.
That would be tricky, but I'm picturing like you said, a Carnival cruise style boat, but instead of like, it's hotels and water slides, it's just a soccer stadium with like 100,000 seats.
Well, and you'd have a built-in audience because you'd be selling the cruise ship tickets, and they would, it would be like a regular cruise, except you would have to go to the games, which would be at a certain time. And so you'd fill the whole, stands that are in the inside of the ship. And then in other times, you could go to the ballroom and see a show, or you could go to the buffet, or, go gambling, or whatever it is you do on cruise ships, right?
Not on the boat. You stay in the stands.
Strictly footy on this boat, mate.
Sorry.
Football only.
You're either at the game only. Or you're in your room.
You're locked in your room.
Yeah.
Nobody's allowed.
You're here for the football.
Only the players. Everybody else, go back downstairs.
I gotta say, this idea it has me very excited.
I'm hooked. I'm
kind of hooked, and these are the kind of ideas that only come from podcasters. The sort of great minds of our generation. The true creative. Really the only last true creative sort of art. Everything else has sort of become commercialized. Not podcasting. Podcasting is pure.
Podcasters don't sell out.
All right, I almost had an idea for that one, but I don't even that was Chad's answer was like fucking 10 out of 10.
That's perfect. Yeah.
That was perfect. I do want to see a team. I won't even make an expansion team. I'll just end on this. I want to see a professional team at the highest level also do like a Savannah Bananas type thing where it's like they're really good. They play in MLS, but they also just like dance and do like rainbow flicks and like I'm like defending in the box and you tap someone's opposite shoulder and they're like, "Huh?" And like they just
Stooges gags on them.
They're really goofy the whole time, but they also win every game, so it's so annoying. Everyone hates
poking the goalie in the eye, and it's somehow not a foul because it's funny.
Like if the Harlem Globetrotters won the NBA, and it was. Anyway, I'll leave you on that.
I like your vision. Yeah,
I'm gonna workshop it. I'll bring it back in the next pod. One more final kind of goofy question. I think I just appreciated it. I threw it in. Matthew from Ohio. If we get a stadium, should we still expect 30,000 attendance without scoring any goals?
Easily. We're the biggest club in soccer.
We are, yeah. I think that's an easy answer. We could win. We could win without scoring goals. We'd find a way if we had our own stadium.
And can I offer like a more serious answer to that? If they put a stadium on train lines in Boston, there should be no problem getting attendance at the games.
Yeah, no, that is the fantasy.
The Everett site is not on the line though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can.
The closest spot is like 28 minutes. Is like 20 minutes walk or something.
But there's a big footbridge. You could do. There is like potential there, but even if it's not ideal, I'm spoiled by like growing up in Germany and having like going to a VfB Stuttgart game, and it literally is you take the train, you get out, and you're just like, oh, I'm in a crowd of 20,000 fans, and we're at the stadium. Like it's just. Like literally, it opens up outside
America
the stadium.
Sucks.
You're there. Yes, true. Okay, so for our last bit in the mailbag, this is my mail of the week.
We're patriots. Don't deport me.
Yeah, please, Mr. Trump. We're
Please,
patriots. Do not deport us.
Here.
We love it. We love it here. For this last bit of mail, we got it. Jacob from Massachusetts sent us a great email. Yeah,
interesting.
And, it's a little long, so I want to read it in its entirety, though. I think
let's hear it.
It's really nuanced. He's clearly a lover of the game. Like, you know, he's just he understands tactics, and like it was a little over my head because he's so like tactically astute. But
Right.
I want to read it all. So thank you, Jacob, for sending this in. Here's the email. So the subject line reads, "Why come they don't us that use their hands to pick up the ball sometimes? Dear Mr. and Mrs. Dry Powder, I'm writing to you because I have been a listener since the very beginning of the podcast, and I know all about the hosts, and I know where they all live. I've listened to all 1,000 podcast episodes and am proud Manscaped user. I use it 2 to 3 times per day, and I make sure to always clean it with Athletic Greens supplements so that it can perform at peak performance for the most demanding customer. It seems to me that the first problem with your podcast is there are no women on the podcast, even though the show is about a woman's sport. If you really wanted to attract a broad audience, you should really think about being sponsored by Womanscaped, which is a razor where they can shave too. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you, and please send me a new charging cable for my Manscaped Manscaper 3000. My old one got chewed up because I chewed on it, and now it electrocutes me whenever I chew on it. Thank you."
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, so thank you.
That's a great question, and I don't think that we're equipped to answer it. But
that's.
Sorry,
I can only say thank you.
Thank you.
Is this about the hands or the women?
Yeah.
Or
he just he
we are
understands
in
the
the
sport.
mix.
Yeah.
We are in the mix of sponsorship opportunities to address that part, and
Yeah.
we will.
We have a lot of offers.
Try to do we will try to do our best by our fan base. In all that we do. So
and thank you, Jacob, for your question.
Thank you for your thoughtful question.
And your thoughtful question, and your comment on it being a women's sport. That actually is a good segue into shout out to the NWSL, which is now back in action. They just had their first weekend.
Let's go.
It's pretty exciting. It's really cool as they do games on Friday nights, which is really fun if you just can't get enough soccer. Not a lot of other leagues do that. I think it's on like Amazon Prime does it. It's pretty cool. Check it out.
We are not sexist.
We are not. No, that despite Jacob's, you know what? Despite being tactically astute, somewhat offensive email, we are big fans of NWSL.
The women's game. NWSL is great. It's
awesome.
a really fun league with some really dynamic and fun stars and great players. And shout out to the USWNT, which is, the winningest program in American soccer history. So it's.
Yeah, no, we love it.
Those girls can play. They can ball.
We are no longer getting Boss Nation FC as the Boston team.
God.
They're changing the name. I know this is a Revs podcast, but maybe if their new name is cool enough, maybe we rebrand because the Revs are depressing. So I really hope they have a second
Boss
chance.
Nation FC was unacceptable, but
probably
let's
the
see what they
worst
can cook up.
name I've ever heard, like ever. I genuinely like that was. I can't think of another thing where I was like, who the hell was like, yeah, dude. This is it. It's
something that some marketing dork cooked up, and he's like, think about all the cool collaborations we could do with Boss Nation.
It's like Girl Boss Nation or something, and it's just like
exactly. There's nothing. There's
like just make it a cool team name. It's a cool league. Like you just add a team. Don't like make it weird. Anyway, so shout out to whatever their team name's going to be. I'm excited to. We'll announce it on the pod whenever they finally get to it because that's pretty exciting. All right, guys, we are not playing this weekend. A reminder. I forgot that was the case until like hours before this pod when I was looking at the schedule and I was like, oh snap, we don't play this weekend. So we're playing the next weekend, and we'll be hosting the New York Red Bulls at home. Now, the New York Red Bulls have had a pretty solid start to the season. I watched a little bit of them, more than NYC, because I didn't watch any NYC before that game. I've watched a little bit of the Red Bulls. Sandro Schwartz, the German coach, still their coach. It's a team that kind of plays like sort of Red Bull pressing style, but not nearly as intense as maybe they have in the past. They have some more skilled players now and play a little more nuanced, let's say. They brought in Choupo-Moting, which is pretty. I was questioning when it first happened, but he's looked really sort of solid as a Red Bull player, a new striker they brought in. So they have a good striker now. And Forsberg, you know, even though he abandoned his family, he has not abandoned the New York Red Bulls yet. He is still there, doing his thing. And he looks really
dangerous
good.
He's dangerous whether you're a defender or whether you're his wife.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So this segues into my next question. So we're at 1 point in 4 games, and this isn't a question of how much pressure you would put on him. I want you to like kind of guess what you think the meter's at. So going into this game, how much pressure is on Porter after 4 games, and how much does he need to win this game to ensure that he doesn't get fired? What do you think? Is this a must win? Is it a must win? In the eyes of the Crafts, and then in your eyes?
There's no such thing as a must win. There's everything such thing as a must win, right? Every game is a must win right now. I think he needs 4 points out of the next 7. You know, we need a win and a draw out of the next 3 games.
Okay.
I don't think he's fired immediately if we lose this next one, unless it's like a 7-0 humiliation.
Oh God. Don't will that into existence.
Yeah. No, right. We're not manifesting that. But it's just, you know, where the answer is going to come from. If it's a Rudy up front again next game, is he going to have the legs to play more than?
I'm going to be pissed if he's up front next game.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it's just we may be in that situation, so it is tough to see where these points are going to come from right now. Confidence is low. The seat is hot, and coach doesn't look good in the press conferences. You know, he answered a question about, you know, there was a reporter said, you know, Carles was looking angry post game.
He was.
Does that concern you? And coach is like, well, no, you want your players to be angry when they lose, which is, I think that's a good answer. But he also followed it up by kind of lashing at the reporter, saying it was a weird question. I think it's understandable.
Yeah. Shout out Caleb Pongratz, I think I may be saying your last name wrong, but I think that was the reporter who asked that question. Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to shout him out.
No, thank you. I appreciate that attribution.
I may have said your last name wrong. You should come on the pod. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, please. But you know, I don't think he was coming from a bad place, particularly with that question. It's just that's a notable thing. Obviously, when Cappy is not happy, we're playing crappy. So
oh my God! Okay,
just a little strung out scale.
When Pappy's not happy. Wait, what was it again? When you're playing crappy, Pappy's not happy. Cappy's not shit.
And the other way around. It circles around.
Yeah, Cappy, Pappy's not happy. Hey, all right. Hey.
I'm a little yappy at this point, so I'll cut it off.
No. That was you've been killing it today. You've been on fire, dude. Unironically, I was in awe with some of your takes. I was like, damn, this guy.
Oh yeah, I'm in awe.
Prerequisite knowledge, left and right. Holy shit, Chad. How much pressure do you think? Let's say I'm going to specify on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you think from the organization's point of view, from what we know about them? What do you think the how much pressure is on 1 to 10 to have to win this game? Like must win 1 to 10. 10 being it's a true must win. He's almost definitely fired if he doesn't. 1 being who cares? The Crabs will keep him anyway.
I think thanks for clarifying the organization, because I had 2 thoughts about this. One being, I'll come back to what you want answered, but I think from a fan's perspective, I think it's a 9. Like, hey, you need to win a game. We need some points. From an organization perspective, I think it's probably around a 2 or a 3. I have never seen the Crafts really care that much about, who the manager is, unless they say something perceived as offensive, and then they get half
Patreon for the Patreon.
Yeah,
something that we don't know what it is.
We don't know.
So we can't even judge how offensive it is.
We still don't know.
And we live in this post-woke society where the most evil people in the world get away with doing anything they want, but we can't have a good soccer coach. Okay, that's fine.
Life is not fair. Anyway, Chad, continue. Sorry.
So, so I think from an organization's perspective, it's like, I don't think he could tank any harder and be fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think he has free reign to do whatever he wants this season, even if it means absolutely scraping.
I would say free reign until summer.
Winless year.
My guess would be summer. Free reign till summer.
It's highly possible, though.
It could be the full year.
I mean, with how they look right now, I don't expect them to win any games.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I think I said last week, I was like, listen, we're not going to score a goal against this team.
Well, and we did, so you're wrong.
Yeah, Brandon By calculated.
We scored a brilliant own goal.
The only person to score a goal for the Revs actually plays for NYCFC, so I'm gonna give myself some credit.
You did call the right score. You did get points.
You got the score
We're
prediction.
gonna get into that here in a second.
You're winning.
You are winning.
You're winning right now.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Did I really? Oh,
You said 2-1. You said 2-1 NYC.
Throughout the week, I think I became more pessimistic, and I think I was messaging you guys privately.
Yeah.
But good for me.
You got it right. Yeah, you nailed
right.
it. 1 point. Yay! Yeah.
Good for me. But I don't think there's going to be any pressure in the next, I don't know,
month or two
on Caleb.
Yeah.
I think he's very good at maybe I don't want to get into this, but I feel like he's a very good politicker.
Yeah,
in the office,
we talked about
where
that.
He can kind of be like, listen, I need some time. Let the system work, and I think that's all the ownership needs to hear. And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Is Porter gaslighting Jonathan Kraft?
It's an interesting comparison to make between Porter and Patriots coach Gerard Mayo, who only got a 1-year leash, looked really poor, seemed to have lost the locker room and the coaching staff, and lost the confidence that ownership had in him. And they cut him. People weren't sure if they were going to do it, but they got rid of him after a single year and replaced him with a coach that they felt better about. It's not the same exact situation. Porter is not Mayo. Porter has an actual resume where he has won things, although not recently. And the Crafts don't care about the Revs like they care about the Pats.
No, absolutely.
So they're not going to be, and the fan, and there just isn't, we're part of it, but we can recognize that the Revs fan base is smaller and less vocal than the Patriots fan base, which are going to be, clamoring for somebody's head to roll after their performance last year. So I think that combination of factors helps keep his job a little longer. I do agree he's a good politicker. He's got quite a long leash.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think if we go 0-3 in this next 3, he could be gone.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell, and we're just speculating podcaster style. We'll see. But I'll end on one final point, and then I want to drop some stats to get your pessimism even higher. So my take is the only thing that you mentioned there that I just don't see here is I haven't seen that much proof that Revs players are don't like Porter. I haven't seen when Brad Friedel was coaching the Revs, it was clear the players did not like Brad Friedel, and that it was a complete clash. With Porter, it's not that it's they love him and they're keeping him around, but I have not. It isn't Carlos Seals arguing with him. Only Richie Williams was arguing with Porter, apparently.
And we all
shout out Richie Williams.
No comment.
Richie.
No comment.
Oh,
shout out Richie.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't say anything.
Shout out Richie. I think that's a big piece.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that when you have the locker room, that's 75% of what you need. So I do think that while he still has the locker room, it makes sense to stick with him, because who's walking through the door that's going to both have the locker room immediately and produce better results immediately with the pieces that we have right now? Which a mark against Porter. Yeah. Those are his pieces that he asked for and bought. But is somebody else going to, come in and take his toys and turn them into something better necessarily immediately? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the only name I could even think of is Jim. Oh my God, I couldn't think of his name. Jim Curtin, who's out of the job right now. They got rid of him before the season because I think the union kind of wanted to go back to their hyper pressing style, and
I would eat Caleb Porter's heart if we could have
Jim Curtin would be.
He's not coming, but is a bigger name relative to MLS coach going to be coming into our situation and saying, "Hey, let me rescue this dumpster fire"?
No,
probably not.
Does not look like an appealing job at all.
It would be like a Bruce situation where you would demand full sort of roster power, and Bruce was playing the GM and coach double role, because he wanted that security to be able to, name Bruce, his own pieces.
Not a good GM, I'll say. Sorry, he was a great coach.
Not a good GM. And I don't think anyone in sports has taken both the lead front office and lead on-field coaching roles and succeeded with flying colors.
We'll
with
see how Berhalter does.
Bill Belichick won plenty of Super Bowls, but he wasn't a good GM either.
Amazing coach. Yeah, I mean,
but is Jim Curtin going to come in mid-season and rescue us?
No,
without crazy terms. No,
I don't think it happens. I think they stick with him till the summer, and if it's total garbage still at that point, they can him and get an interim coach, and then maybe just shop around for a while and just call this season a wash, which would kind of suck. But anyway, I'm gonna end on this. I want to end on this stat because we're approaching. We're even going longer than we did last time. But I think we have some amazing content today. This has been super fun, guys. This is courtesy of Revolution Central on Instagram. I want to give a shout out. It's a fun account that does memes and Revolution news. You should follow them if you don't. Before Bruce was placed on leave, we had 12 wins in 23 games. So that's over 50% win rate. That doesn't even include draws. That's win rate over 50%. Since then, we are now 12 wins in the last 48 games. And that is 1 win in the last 14 games going back to last season. If you really take a step back, it's bad. We forget sometimes because we see everything. We're goldfish memory. We just see what's in front of us. But I saw that stat and I was like, holy shit. That is nuts. You guys don't even have to react to that unless you have a quick thing to say.
That's really upsetting.
It's upsetting. Yeah, it's oh my God.
What did you say?
Yeah, what did you say? What did you say?
What was the slur?
Was it a slur? Did you call someone a jerk? I don't know. Was it sex? Just something, man. I miss you, but I also, there's still the small percentage that you actually did something bad.
Yeah.
What
happened?
We're pretty sure that it was something overblown.
Some of our problematic phase.
Anyway, our problematic king, Bruce. I'm rooting for San Jose.
Friend of the show, friend of the pod.
I would love it if you could get San Jose to beat both the other LA teams in the standings. I think that would be fucking awesome. I'm going to bleep out these swears, maybe. Yeah, let's do it real quick. Just super fast, real quick. I'm going... I think it's a shitty game, but somehow the Revs get outplayed, but win 1-0. So we're in this weird thing where they didn't play well, but they also get a win, and then we don't know how to analyze it. That's my take. Ivacic has a great game, and it's 1-0 or something. That's my feeling. That's a gut feeling.
And we don't know what to think about it.
I'm thinking the opposite. I'm thinking that we get a 1-0 loss.
I
gotta go pessimistic
this week. That seems way more likely. I gotta say. What do you think, Chad? You are now you're winning.
I think we get
so a lot of pressure.
Yeah, you are in the lead,
man. Super pessimistic coming at you. I think we get cooked 3-0.
Oh no!
God, why would you? If we get cooked 3-0, I'm kicking you off the pod.
Hope you're wrong.
Yeah, hope you're wrong.
And I'm gonna come to your house and really light it on fire.
On God though, for real.
On God for real, and on God for real. I think we need to end this episode no cap. So, guys, if you're still listening, thank you so much. I'm gonna have the outro music start playing again. This has been super fun.
Give us a 5-star review.
Please give us a 5-star review on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram.
Like and subscribe.
Follow us on the Nazi app. Follow us on whatever. We need the support. And it's we're just having fun.
Don't unless you're Bobby Boy 69.
Yeah. Oh, Bobby Boy 69.
You're done. Yeah. Never email us again.
Yeah.
Dude, your
powder's wet, and you're on my ops list. But ops list. Fuck! I can't talk.
You're on my ops lips.
You're on my ops lips.
You're on my.
You're on the tip of my lips, baby.
You're on my ops.
All right.
Get off our lips, Op.
Get off my lips, Op. All right. Thank you, guys. This has been a super fun episode. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Musket sound.
Musket sounds.
Bow, bow, bow.